I believe in me.
I believe in me.
I believe in you.
I believe in you.
Stand strong. You are powerful.
Stand strong. You are inspiring.
We are fighters. We are ambitious.
We are extraordinary. We are conquerors. Simply Straight Talk, our voices will be heard.
This is Simply Straight Talk. Tune in now, you don't want to miss out. Real conversation, plenty motivation. Keep you thinking and still entertaining. Yeah, I know that you'll enjoy the mottos. Free your voice, it's your choice. Hosted by Reggie B, but you already know. And you gotta check them out and how we roll. Hey, ain't nothing off the table. Give it to you straight. Changing your mindset, talking past mistakes. You ain't gotta wait, time to take off. This is Simply Straight Talk.
I'm Melissa, and this is the Simply Straight Talk podcast, where we engage in solution-based conversations with tips on how to overcome and move past the challenges and struggles we face in life. So join in and let's show the world you got what it takes. It's showtime. Let's hop on this train of motivation.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Simply Straight Talk podcast. What's up, people? I hope everybody is doing well. I hope you're being safe as the whole COVID thing seems to be dying down and other drama seems to be going up, just like the price of damn gas, but still, let's stay positive. Let's stay motivated. You know what I'm saying? But listen, today I wanted to ask you a question, and the question is basically the topic of the show. Are men and women different? Now, when I ask are men and women different, yes, we all understand that physically, body-wise, we are built different. We have different parts, so we get that. But we want to go deeper and start looking at more of the mental aspect, more of the psychological. We want to get into communication. We want to get into the mindset between men and women, because we always hear this comes up. Whenever there's a discussion about relationships, whenever there's a discussion about jobs, we always hear a male version and a female version, a female mindset and a male mindset. And it seems like everything now is so divided that we don't speak as men and women as simply humans, as people. We speak of men and women as just that, like men are here, women are here, and they are completely different. They do not react the same. They do not feel the same. They do not think the same. That is where we have come today as a society. Now, me personally, I really believe that this way of just really having discussions and separating men in such a divisive way has created a harmful effect when it comes to us not only interacting in relationships, but also interacting socially, interacting on jobs. And I think it really does hinder us as a society as a whole to be able to grow, to be able to progress, because we get into this whole thing of, and I said this before, it just seems like this world is built, especially in America, is really built on the fact that you cannot progress one group or one gender without destroying the other. That is the entire mindset of how things are done now. If you want women to have a certain thing, that means you got to have this anti-campaign to destroy men, and if you want women, then there's an anti-campaign against women. It's always a retaliatory effect, and it's the same thing in cultures. You want to uplift one culture, you got to destroy another culture. That's just the way things seems to be right now, and how people seem to really want to deal with the other gender. And today, I just want to focus on gender. I don't want to focus on race. I don't want to focus on cultures. I just want to focus on gender. Now, when we talk about the genders, one of the things that always comes up is the mood. And people always talk about, well, women have this, and this is the reason, and this is the explanation for why women may behave this way, or act this way, or think this way. because of their body, the changes and things going on in their body. Now, keep in mind that one of the reasons that they say a woman goes through changes is because of PMS. And yes, we all know that. We get that once a month. Now, during that time when they're going through PMS, there may be some mood changes. There may be some, because they're definitely having some discomfort in their body. They're definitely feeling certain ways. Their hormones are out of balance. So we get it. So it is going to affect their mood, but it should not be a long lasting thing. They should not have PMS from January 1st to December 31st, and it kicks in again January 1st to December 31st year round. It should only be during the duration or maybe a little bit of post PMS that may occur, but it should not be a continuous ongoing thing. If that's the case, then maybe a more deeper medical diagnostic needs to be done to kind of help see what is going on with that person. Now, when we talk about hormones, people talk about hormones for women, but men have hormones also. And so you will have men that will go through a male version of PMS. So when our hormones are out of balance, we experience similar things. Now, the thing about it is, it's the same thing. It should not be a year-long thing that a male's mood is affected by his hormones. Now, based on an article, since, people only want to refer to men, when they talk about men, they talk about men as far as testosterone. They don't talk about men as far as hormones. So when it comes to men, we always hear how testosterone makes us more aggressive and this and that, but they don't talk about the fact that, yes, men have hormones too. So, based on an article published on WebMD that was reviewed by Dr. Smitha Badari, MD, apologize if I got the name wrong. Now, it was published on March 8th, 2021, and it basically had a paragraph that said, men's hormones tend to stay pretty stable until the age of 30, when testosterone begins to gradually decline. About a third of men age 75 and older have low levels of testosterone that can cause mood swings along with erectile dysfunction, sleep problems, and yes, hot flashes. Now, doesn't that sound very similar to some of the things that women go through? Now, I read that because I just wanted to give some little bit of information about the fact when I say are men and women really different? I think sometimes we try to really, I don't want to say play the victim card, but we want to play like who's been dealt the worst blow, who has the worst pain, who suffers the most. We like to play that card when it comes to men and women, and we like to often disregard the other side. Women will say, well, we deal with more, we have to put up with more. And men will say, well, we have to deal with more, and we have to put up with more. And it just creates a lot of conflict that is unnecessary because we're both dealing with the same thing. So other reasons, before I get into the main categories here, of why a person may be experiencing mood change, male or female, puberty. When a person goes through puberty during adolescence, their hormonal levels changes considerably. This can cause strong emotions and sudden shifts in mood that are more intense than usual. Another reason, mental health conditions. Some mental health conditions causes mood swings regardless of a person's menstrual cycle. These include, borderline personality disorder, bipolar disorder, and just different things. People with substance misuse disorders may also go through significant changes in mood as a result of using a particular drug or stopping its use. Neurological conditions. I almost messed that up. I did actually. But neurological conditions. People can develop mood changes as a result of conditions such as migraines, Parkinson's disease, dementia, and just different things. Medications. And I think sometimes people don't consider this. A lot of people, when you're taking blood pressure medicine or you're taking, sinus medicine, you're taking different medications. That's why when your doctors give you prescription medicines, they will often call you in and just want to do a mental health assessment to see how you're reacting. Many of us take medications and we don't read, that 15 page they give us about the side effects and all this with the medication. And we just kind of glance over it. But a lot of these medications do say that they will cause certain emotional responses. So many medications can have a negative impact on mood as a side effect, including some of the drugs doctors use to treat mood-related disorders. Antidepressants, hormonal birth control, steroids are just a few examples. Sometimes the side effects are mild or they wear off over time, but sometimes, they may find that they don't wear off and they tend to progress. But these are the things that we need to consider when we are talking about men and women. And we're so busy trying to find reasons as to why men are the lesser, women are the lesser, why our struggle is harder, or why, men have a greater struggle than women and women don't understand. Women have a greater struggle and men don't understand. And the only thing it does is create this attack cycle that every time men and women sit down to talk, and I see this so often, when men and women sit down to have a discussion about challenges they're facing in the job, in relationships, in society, somehow, some way, it flips into, well, men don't understand because they haven't had to deal with being paid less and going to a job where they're not respected. And when I hear this, I'm like, are you serious right now? Are you serious? Because a lot of people have dealt with that. Now, like I said, I'm not going to get into the race thing, but when you start talking about black people in America, or maybe some other minority groups, they have dealt with that more than the average white person, be it male or female. So to use that as an argument, to me, I think is absolutely crazy unless you're talking about some type of discrimination or racial situation. Because the bottom line is, men and women, regardless of their color, have both dealt with that. And I wanted to give you some examples when I talked about the hormonal change, the testosterone in men, and I gave some reason that people may experience mood swings, because these are things that, especially now this part is going to go for women, we really do hear when we have these conversations about how women are so off kilter, or women are so this way or that way, their mood swings, they're emotional. We both deal with that. And I think sometimes we don't take time to understand what is really going on. And some of that stuff is really personal, especially if a person is taking medication, their mental health conditions, that stuff is sort of personal. So it's not something that a person is going to put out to the world for the world to see, because it's not the world's business. But it is the responsibility of that person to really understand the medication that you are taking and how it may affect you. So you know how to communicate that to your doctor, and you learn to be aware of when that medication side effect may be kicking in with you and how it may impact the people that are in your circle, you're in a relationship with, your work environment based on your behavior. So there's a little bit of accountability there that each individual person needs to have. But the thing about it is, are men and women so different that every time we sit down for a conversation, we have to try to play whose devil is the worst, who suffers the worst, who has the biggest challenges? Because the truth is, we all face challenges. Now, one thing that we seem to really get into when we talk about men and women is emotions. Now, emotionally, everyone says women are more emotional than men. That is what people say. And I'm going to tell you a lot of myths today, and I think that's bullshit. I think men and women are both equally emotional. And people are going to say, well, you know what? That survey did not interview every single man and woman in this country or on this planet to actually make that assessment. It's a generalization of a few people, few hundred people they talked about when there are billions of people in the world. So men and women both are emotional. Now, then you get into the fact of showing emotions. Well, who shows their emotions the most? Well, I know women that are very hidden with their emotions. And I know guys who are very open about their emotions. But I know women who are very open about their emotions and guys who are very shut in about their emotions. So to me, it's more of an individual thing. Now, do men cry? Yes. Do women cry? Yes. Because it's a natural human thing to do when you're feeling a certain way, be it happy or be it sad. A man or woman will cry. Now, for men, is it more like, oh, don't do that in public? Yeah. But even some women, I've even heard them on Shark Tank, where I think it was Barbara who told a lady, don't cry in public. Don't cry. So that sort of contradicts the thing that they're telling men about don't cry. It's just men and women are the same. They are the same. And I think a lot of people really get it mixed up because a lot of people are just looking for reasons to kind of attack the other person. Men hurt just like women. Men feel just like women. Women feel just like men. Women hurt just like men. And when you get into the situation to where you say emotionally this person doesn't show, or emotionally this person doesn't, because a lot of people are basing how emotional a person is based on their experience with that person. Because the thing about it is, sometimes an individual may not feel comfortable enough with you to expose themselves emotionally. But I guarantee you they have exposed their emotions to someone else. And just like men, women do the same thing. Women can be emotionally hurt and will use anger as a way to hide that hurt and fling insults. So men and women both do that. So it's not like one gender does it and the other one doesn't. It's not like women sit there, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have did that, or I don't like that you did that. And I'm just going to be very peaceful and humble about this whole thing. And you don't have men doing that. I'm going to be very peaceful about this whole thing, you cheated on me and, it really bothered me, but it's okay. It's okay. No, the truth is some words are going to come out. Some very graphic words are going to come out from men and women. So I think we got to start looking at people as individuals and stop categorizing people as a whole when we're dealing with situations such as emotions. Do you have a connection with that person to where they feel they can trust you to be vulnerable in front of you about their emotions? Do you have that connection? Have you established that relationship? At one point, did you do something to break that person's trust, or does your behavior indicate to them that because of the way you act, I can't be emotionally vulnerable in front of you? So you assume that I'm non-emotional, when this case is the fact that I am emotional. I'm just not willing to reveal that to you because you have not shown me that I can trust you with that side of me. And that could be male or female. It could be male or female. You know what, guys? We're going to take a break and we'll be right back with more of the Simply Straight Talk Show.
We'll be back with your host, Reggie, on Simply Straight Talk.
Hey, you guys. This is Bourgeois Latte with Latte Java Drips Radio, where we serve it cool while making it hot. We serving drips and giving you some podcasts and Java vibes of independent artists from all over the world. So head on over to www.lattejavadrips.com/LJD Radio to hear what we are brewing.
We hope you're enjoying the show. As our listeners, this show is made possible because of your support. Make sure you click the subscribe button and leave a comment. Thank you for being a part of the show, and now back to your host, Reggie Maddox.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the second part of the show. Listen, we're asking the question, are men and women different? As I stated at the beginning of the show, I'm not talking about physically. Physically, we know men and women are different, but we're talking about the emotional, the mental, the mindset. That's what we're talking about today. Because, like I said, we hear a lot of people that anytime men and women sit down to discuss an issue, it always turns from the real issue of what they were actually talking about into a debate between men and women as far as who is being hurt the most, who has the most disadvantages. And when it comes to men and women, it's always a thing of you got to destroy the other gender. There is no balance of like, okay, you see it this way, I see it this way, I respect your point of view. How can we both elevate as humans and not as a gender? And that is the issue in what we're talking about today. And that's why we're asking the question, are men and women different? Because we like to say that men experience one thing, women experience something different. Women have feelings that men don't have, when that is totally and complete, utter bullshit. Because the truth is, we both experience the same emotions. As individuals, we express ourselves in our own individual way based on our experiences. So it's not that men don't feel or men don't love as hard or women can't feel or love as hard. We both do. But individually, you may have met somebody who you love more than what you thought. You love somebody more than they loved you. I got it. Okay, so we talked about emotionally at the end of the first part of the show, but now we want to talk about dealing with hurt. Because I hear so many times that people say that, well, men don't hurt. Men don't feel or hurt the way women do. I'm going to call bullshit on that. I can tell you that men do hurt. Men do feel, just like women hurt and feel. Oftentimes when you're in some form of relationship, be it a family member, be it a friend, be it a husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, people in general normally do not like for the person who has hurt them to know that they are hurt, unless it's somebody they're trying to get them to understand. But when a relationship has reached a point to where both parties or one party is simply fed up or had enough of the other or feel it's pointless, they won't show that hurt in front of that other person. And a lot of people, men and women, will hide behind their anger when they are hurt because they don't want the other person to feel like, I hurt them. So men and women both hurt. As individuals, we deal with hurt different. Because I hear some people say, well, men don't discuss it. They don't say nothing. I know men that are very open about discussing that they're hurt. And I know women that are very shut in about it. They won't say anything. You all right? Yeah. So it's an individual thing. And like I said, it's based off of a person's experience. You can have someone who has been hurt and by the people in their lives, and they have just learned or developed the mindset that if I am going to say that I am hurt, you are not going to listen because no one else has ever listened to me. So the point of me to stand here and tell you what I'm feeling and why I'm hurting, to me seems pointless. Let's just move on. But for other people, it's the fact of, I like to share when I'm hurting because I'm hoping you will understand, or the person I revealed that to will be able to offer some form of emotional comfort, which everybody needs emotional comfort. Everybody wants to feel like this person understands my pain. They understand my happiness. They understand my lack of confidence. They understand my doubt, but they're not going to beat me up about it. They understand it and they want to support me. So everybody hurts, men and women. Men and women. I can't tell you how many times I've heard a woman say a man could never love a child as more as a woman because she bore the child. We get that. Men understand that. We know that women are the only ones that can carry children, okay, for 9 months. We know that. But it does not mean that you love harder than we do. There are some women who have given up their children. I got a friend, his wife wants nothing to do with the child she carried for 9 months. So the father is raising the child, and he loves this daughter to death. But yet, that is not classified as love equal to a woman's love when it comes to a child. It's individual people. Jeez. Next, recovering from emotional hurt. As we just discussed, men and women hurt. As individuals, we recover differently. Some people, as T.D. Jakes once said, can put on a hat, wash their face, put on some new clothes, get back out there and go into the world and shake it off. Whereas other people need a little more time. They need to cry. They need silence. They need to mourn. They need to be with themselves. People deal with hurt in different ways. So, do men move on faster than hurt than women? I think it really depends. As we said, what's the word of the day? Individual. Each individual person, in accordance to their experience in life, has their own technique and strategy of moving on from hurt. Some people suppress it. They just simply suppress it. They never really deal with it, but that's their way of moving on. But you will see shadows of that hurt when they get into particular situations. Some people become soulless and they just ignore the hurt. And they themselves do not allow themselves to feel. That is how they deal with it. That is men, that is women. Some people actually discuss their hurt and they go to get therapy. They go to get help. You have men and women do it. Just because you don't see it does not mean that it doesn't happen. And I think we have become a society where if you don't fully expose everything about yourself, then you're a liar. Then you don't do it. You're not taking the right steps. You're not doing you're not taking the appropriate actions to heal. But you can't determine that because like I said again in the beginning, that person may not have that relationship with you to where they can expose that to you, especially if you're a big mouth and you tell everything that people tell you. You don't have the ability to keep anything confidential, so they don't share with you. And some people rather deal with their pain in private, deal with that hurt within themselves in a private setting to where they can recover faster because they feel like too much information and too many people throwing in their little 2 cents and 3 cents convolutes their thought process to where they just can't simply move past what they're trying to get over. So people have different ways of recovering from hurt. Like I said at the beginning, do men recover faster than women? It depends on the individual. Some men recover fast, some men don't. Some women recover fast, some women don't. And it bugs me when I hear people say, oh man, you should be over there. You acting like a woman. And I've even heard women that have been told, oh, you acting like a man. You don't feel anything? So what's the difference if we're both being categorized as doing the same thing to move past something when we're hurt? We both feel, we both hurt. As individuals, we have our own ways of dealing with that hurt. Hurt is not a gender thing. Emotions are not a gender thing. The ability to deal with a situation is not a gender thing. Now, granted, if a person is dealing with, for women, they're going through their menstrual cycle, there may be a moment to where their emotions are a little more high stream and they may need a little more time to deal with that hurt. If a man is dealing with some type of mental health issue, he may be needing a little more time to deal with that hurt, and he may be acting a little abnormal until the situation within his body passes, until his chemical balance gets back normal. Individual people, there's always something behind the scene. And that's what I try to tell people. There's always something behind the scene. And when people don't reveal that to you, people get offended. Body shaming. This is just another thing. You know, I see a lot of people that feel like, you know, women are the only ones that deal with body shaming. With men, it doesn't matter. Men don't really have to deal with body shaming. It's not the same. Let me tell you something. That's a lie. You know, I get it. Women, you know, are supposed to be pretty, delicate, elegant. And that's nothing to say that they are weak. You know, they're supposed to be feminine. Feminine does not mean weak. But that's how it's been classified, but that's another show. But the thing about it is, so women probably feel like to capture a man or to have a man's attention, they have to have flawless skin, a Coke bottle figure. They have to look a certain way, dress a certain way. The skirt, the pants, the shirt, the blouse, the top. I don't know women's clothes, but their clothing has to fit them a certain way to really, you know, make them more appealing as they walk down the street. But here's the thing, women, you're not doing this just for men, because a lot of times women are dressing more for other women than they are for men, because women are more in competition with each other than they are with men looking at them. And it's the same thing for men. Men dress because men are very competitive. Women are competitive. So men are competitive about their clothes, how they dress, how they look. You know, they say that if a woman is a bigger size, that men are not going to approach her. If a man is a bigger size, I'm telling you this from experience, women are not going to approach you. You know, they say, well, men don't like big women. Women don't like big men. But there are individuals who do prefer women with more meat on their bodies. There are individual men, women who prefer men with more meat on their body. But men and women are both conscious about their body. If a man gets a bump on his nose, he notices it. He's like, God dang, what is this? Just like a woman is. Men and women as individuals are conscious about themselves. This is a very self-conscious society right now. And we live in a world where the media really does, especially social media, portrays, because everybody is on social media wanting to have the tightest little go-go shorts, and men want to flex and all this type stuff. And that's what's influencing everybody's outlook right now. That's my personal opinion. But body shaming goes both ways. Men are very conscious about their body, their hair, how their body looks. I'm overweight. We feel the same thing. But for women, it's just more prevalent because it's more attention paid to it with women, because it's assumed that men don't feel when it comes to their body, like men don't care. But actually, men really do. We really do. A woman can hurt a man by talking about his body. If a man gets turned down because a woman doesn't like big guys, and you can see if you're a bigger guy, you're walking up to a woman to approach her, maybe to kind of ask her out, you know, to get her name, to see if she's interested. That little squinch eyes and, you know, the head kind of goes back, or the quick turn my head and look the other way like he does, like I don't see him. Maybe he'll walk away. Men notice that, especially big guys. They notice that. And it does make them self-conscious. Wow, my weight. So men and women both feel body shaming. Some people are confident, they don't care. But that's an individual thing. What's the word I keep saying, y'all? Individual. Jeez. Cheating. Oh, now this is one. I've heard so much that men cheat more than women. Let me tell you something. This is no job. Listen. I have heard and know more women that have cheated on their husbands than the guys I know. Women are out there. Both men, as far as, you know, women are better at cheating than men, I just think it's an individual thing. Some people don't care, men and women. Some women have mastered the craft, some men have mastered the craft, but eventually it all comes back at some point. So men and women cheat. I don't believe men cheat more than women. I don't believe that women never cheated. People acted like women have never cheated in a relationship ever. It's like from the time women were conceived, they did not start cheating until 2019. I'm like, that's bullcrap. Women have always cheated. Men have always cheated. But it's those individual people that have done it. And especially when it's high profile, especially if a male celebrity cheats, all of a sudden it's a men thing. Men cheat. Men cheat. That's who cheats. Men. Nobody wants to accept the fact that it's men and women. And I think that's a big problem in today's society. We don't hold everybody accountable. Instead of addressing the issue and holding everybody accountable, we rather simply just point out one and say, it's your fault, it's men's fault, it's men's fault. Like the whole hashtag Me Too thing. That's why I thought it was a bunch of crap. And I say that because I know I'm going to get some crap about that comment, because the fact that hashtag Me Too did not hold everybody accountable. It was not about men and women being accountable. It was simply point out every man because only men do it. So they made it seem like there have never been any cases of women exhibiting sexual misconduct towards men, when we all know that that's a lie. My thing is, you have to make this all inclusive when you want to hold people accountable. You got to say this will not be tolerated from men. It will not be tolerated from women. No exceptions. You can't just make it a movement to attack one gender because you want to feel like this is a way of empowerment by destroying people for no reason. Unless they're guilty of it, then they deserve it. But the thing about it is, men and women are individuals. So as far as a person cheating, that's based on a relationship, an individual relationship. Normally, when people tell you about they're in a relationship and somebody cheating, they're telling you one side of the story. They may not have told you that, yeah, he cheated on me, blah, 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 blah. Oh, did I need to tell you that I cheated on him twice? Or I cheated on her twice? Or I'm barely at home because I'm hanging out with y'all? I don't cook. I don't clean. I have him or her do everything. Oh, I didn't mention that? Well, that's irrelevant. That's what I'm talking about, people. Understand what's going on behind the scenes. Next, starting a relationship. You know, and this is where a lot of issues are coming up when men and women get into relationships. It is the whole thing of men and women cannot get into a relationship now without it being a male versus female thing. It has to be a male versus female thing. It has to. It cannot be simply two individuals who have a mutual interest in each other and want to see if they can build a life together. It doesn't do that. You know, and people naturally assume that if a younger woman dates an older man, it's for money. And if an older man dates a younger woman, it's because he wants to be a sugar daddy and he just wants sex. I think it goes both ways. I think you got men who will date an older woman for money. You got women who will date an older man for sex and money. You know, it just goes both ways. It's the individual thing. People go into relationships with their own agenda. Each individual, when they enter into a relationship, has their own agenda. It is not a male or female issue. It is not a man or woman thing. Each individual has their own agenda of what they are wanting from that person, either long term or they're wanting something they're hoping to get some quick convenience. But it's an individual mindset. And there's nothing you can do, because if you date somebody, and this is what I tell people, if you date somebody that's older, then the responsibility is on you, because you know as that person gets older, if they're 20 to 30 years older, as they get older, their health is going to start to decline. They can't do the things they used to do. And it's the same thing for a man who dates a woman. A younger man who dates an older woman, if she's in her, 50s or 60s, or, she may not want a child, but you're talking about you want a child. Those are the things you have to think about. So men as women as individuals, when they go into a relationship, they have their own mindset of what they're expecting and what they're hoping to get out of it. But the thing about it is, it's not a male or female thing. It is an individual thing. And both male and females will both go in with either good intentions or mischievous intentions. It's on that individual. I hear a lot of this coming up next. I want to talk about pressure on the job, because we have a lot of people who will go to a job and they would say it's a boys club or it's a girls club. Now, me being a male, I hear a lot of women say it's a boys club. And I try to understand why. And I asked this one woman, I said, well, why do you say it's a boys club? Well, because they seem to be joking and talking, but, it's certain things they don't talk about with me. It's like, okay, but are those things you're interested in? Are those conversations, maybe they're having conversations that on their lunch breaks that's just not woman friendly. It's just guys talking, just like women talking. I've actually walked into a women's salon when they were having a conversation. Like I walked in, all conversations stopped. Clearly the conversation they had was not meant for a male to hear because that was just a group of women having a conversation. Should I have been offended by that and said, well, this beauty shop, doggone it, this is a women's club. It is a group of women having a conversation. I can't get offended. And I think a lot of times when we get on jobs, you got men and women who feel a certain way when actually they're feeling the same. They're feeling the same. There are times when I have walked in on even in the working place where women have been talking and women, they will have their conversations, but those conversations they don't have with me. I caught glimpses of the conversation, but I didn't try to put myself in that conversation because actually I was there to work, not there to be a part of whatever they was doing. So they're having conversation about guys, dating. Okay, that's their conversation. I didn't get on the defensive like, oh, it's a woman's club. And sometimes I see this with men and women. When jobs have cliques and people feel like they can't be a part of that clique, they start to want to label it as a male this or female that. The truth is, some people are going to connect, some are not. Stop making it a male-female thing. Are you doing your job? Maybe they don't communicate with certain things because you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Maybe you need to do your job the right way instead of trying to say it's an anti-woman thing when really you are anti-doing your job. Next up, communication. Now, this I hear a lot. And here's the thing about communication between men and women. And I think, once again, it's an individual thing. Because men, just like women, will conversate with a certain person based on their relationship, based on the comfort level. You can have 5 people and you can be cool with all 5 of them. And all 5 of them, you can say they're good friends. But it may only be one out of those 5 people that you say, I can talk to this person. I can relate to this person with information. I can say something to this person and I know it won't get back. You may not have the same conversation with each one when you're in private because you know who they are as individuals. And I think when we get into this thing of saying, well, men don't like to communicate, men don't like to talk. Well, that's because do you like to listen or do you like to tell them what to do? Well, women are overly expressive. Well, are you not listening enough? Because I'm pretty sure it's somebody that she can talk to that's a male that actually listens. There's somebody he can talk to that's a female that actually listens. So it's an individual thing of who a person communicates with and how much they communicate with them. So men and women are pretty much the same. I know some women that are simply straight to the point when they conversation. Yeah, went to the store, I got this, and I came right back. So are we going to have steak or are we going to have seafood? And I know some men that are just, you ask them a question and they're giving you a whole thesis. I mean, really, and you need an intermission just for them to say, I walked outside to the back door, I found the key, I hung it up on the wall. Because it takes them so much. Well, as I was walking out the door, I opened the door. I know it felt a little sticky, but I don't know. So I just wiped the door down. So then when I walked outside in the hallway, man, I felt kind of tired. I was like, man, what's going on with me? I know men that have conversations like that. So it's men and women. It is not just a gender thing. I don't understand. Conversation is not gender. Conversation is individual. How the individual communicates, who that individual elects to communicate his thoughts, feelings, emotions, and express himself to, that's based on his experience with the people around him. On those particular individuals, he chooses to share or not share. Individuals she chooses to share with or not share with. That is her prerogative. Because her communication style with one person does not dictate the fact that her communication style represents an entire gender. And the same for men. And we gotta take this break. All right, we'll be right back.
We'll be right back. So keep it locked here with your favorite radio talk show.
Hey, are you looking for some great music, upbeat and with a positive voice? Well, the song I Stand With You is exactly what you need. This timeless song has a pop version sung by Audrey Carmel. And a reggae version sung by General Steele, now known as Revelation.
Now I know some days you may feel blue, Lord. Trust in your greatness to see you through.
These songs are now available on iTunes and other digital platforms for download. Don't miss out. Get your copy today.
Give life your best, and I know.
Are you ready for the straight truth? Reggie, what's the final word for today?
Hey everybody, and welcome to the final thoughts of the day's show. Listen, today we talked about, are men and women different? How different are we really when you get past the physical aspects of our bodies and get into us emotionally and mentally? We are very much the same. So why are we living and allowing all this division to take place, or playing this game of who has the biggest challenges? Who's been hurt the most? Where is that going to get us? How far is that going to get us as far as working together? If we simply come to understand that men and women both hurt, men and women both feel, men and women both deal with body shaming, men and women are both self-consciously aware of flaws in their body, men and women cheat, men and women communicate the same, but it's about the individual. Emotionally, men and women deal with the same emotions, but we deal with them as individuals. A person's hurt, their pain, their emotions, the way they feel about their body, whether a person decides to cheat, their communication, their relationship, none of that is based on gender. And I'm pretty sure people are going to break out 1,001 freaking surveys or all these freaking tests that people have done. They say, oh, no. Men do this. I guarantee you on the other side, if you test the entire world, you can find the same number of women who do the same thing. You can find the same number of men who have long, drawn-out conversations, detail by detail. Every man is not point A to point B with their conversation. Every woman is not point A to point Z with her conversation. You got some women that are point A to point B and men point A to point Z. We have to start learning to see each other as simple humans with individual characteristic traits. And we have to learn to be aware of that and acknowledge that. Because the fact that we are continuing to have these male and female gender wars is absolutely senseless. It is ridiculous to say that women face challenges that men do not face, and men face challenges that women do not face. We both face the same challenges. But the problem is, instead of trying to deal with how to resolve the issues and understand and listen to each other, because 95% of the time, when I hear men and women start debating each other about how one deals with this, the other one deals with that, 100% of the time, I'm hearing the same thing. I'm hearing them both say the same thing. They're saying the same thing. So 95 to 100% of the time, they are both saying the exact same thing about how they feel, how they recovered from it, what they were dealing with, the stress of it, the anxiety of it. They're both saying the same thing. But we're fighting each other like, one is eating an apple and the other one is eating a rock. When in truth, we're both eating off the same fruit and we're both getting the same taste and flavor from it. But the problem is we're not seeing each other as people, as humans. And we're not acknowledging the fact that people have individual characteristic traits that make them different. So some people's, the way they behave and respond to things is not based on gender. It's based on their personal experience as an individual. But we like to target the other gender and say, I've dealt with two people that acted like this. They were both women, so all women behave in this manner. Or I've dealt with two men that have acted like this, so all men act like this. And it ruins the chance for potential great relationships because you have this false expectation that you have documented and you have engraved in your mind that every woman you meet is going to behave or exhibit this type of behavior, thought, or mindfulness process. And men are the same way. They engrave this myth in their head about how women behave and think, and they expect every woman to behave and think and react the same way that the woman that they have had experience with. And they wonder why there's constant tension and conflict when they do interact or engage in a relationship with a woman, be it friendship or be it sexual. So those are the things we got to be mindful of, people. We are individuals. We are individuals. As Angelique once said, we're all complex individuals with our own mindset and behaviors and traits. Until we learn to see that in the individual, we will never be able to get on that road and walk together in a world of progress, to move past all this pettiness. So that's the show today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please let me know your thoughts and comments. Drop it down below. I'll accept all comments and feedback. Let's hear what you got to say because I'm really curious, man. I'm really curious. So whatever you got, drop it down below. Keep it respectful. Keep it cool. And we can have a good conversation about this. Peace.
That's it for this week's episode of the Simply Straight Talk podcast. Be sure to sign up to our email list at simplystraighttalk.com and follow us in your favorite podcast app so that you don't miss our next episode. Wishing you a wonderful day from the Simply Straight Talk crew.
Simply Straight Talk with your host Reggie B. Come on, let's all join in. Free your voice, it's your choice, all right here. Oh, Simply Straight Talk.